Hi, welcome back to the Phil and Ollie
Hello,
podcast.
oi.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yes.
Once again, I have prepared absolutely nothing for this, Philip. You'll be pleased to know.
I haven't prepared anything either, mate. That makes two of us. We're so in sync.
Well, that's probably because you didn't know we were going to do it until yesterday, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot going on, isn't there?
There is a lot going on. I have a lot going on,
Really?
actually. Yeah, some exciting things to tell you
I'm a bit
about.
surprised.
Yeah, in the world. My life's been pretty. What's the word?
Flip turned upside down?
No, that is a couple of words that might be useful in a different scenario. It's been pretty boring for a long time, I guess. Like nothing hugely exciting going on, but recently, I mean, I have to say, there's definitely going to be a section today about counselling and the virtues of it because it has done me a lot of good recently.
Oh,
yes,
legend.
Yeah,
that's good.
I know. Yeah,
right.
It's really working. It's working its magic. I feel like a new man. I feel like Jesus probably did at some point.
Right. Which point do you reckon that was? Just walked on water and he was like, "Oh my god! I thought I was lying about all this, but that proves it."
What do you think he didn't know he could before he did it?
He started off like, "I'm pretty charismatic. I'm pretty good looking. I reckon I can get some people to follow me." And then, he actually did some miracles, and he was like, "What? I could do this?"
Do you think maybe he just? Do you think maybe it was that there was a big pane of glass underneath the water? I don't know. I have a feeling that maybe he was a con man who then realized that he could actually do that stuff. So he's like the most legitimate con man of all time. Maybe is that blasphemous? I feel like this is blasphemous conversation.
It's okay. I don't think Jesus is real, so I don't think it matters.
But the people that believe in him are.
Sorry.
The people that will be offended are real.
Yeah. Real bad sports.
Look, if I can't take the piss out of your God, then you can't take the piss out of mine.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting because I don't really have one. I don't know. Maybe I do. Bob Ross, if Bob is the closest it probably comes to, I think.
Yeah, he's my God.
He's close. If Earth was a happy accident, then that makes sense, doesn't it? Because Bob Ross's paintings are a happy accident.
Yeah, but then Bob Ross would never paint in disease or famine, right? Like there has to be that. Then you're getting into that kind of Zoroastrian. There are two gods: a good god and an evil god. Bob Ross is doing the painting, and then the evil god is
Jimmy Carr.
Oh, that's not fair. He's not that bad.
He's not that bad. No, I actually quite like him. I tell you what, he's good at. He's good at setting other people up for jokes, and that's something I appreciate a lot. And goes under the radar quite easily.
That's true. Yeah, he's good at the old alley oop.
He's good at the old. To use a basketball analogy, yes, he is good at the old alley oop. So who would it be then? Huh? Who would be the evil god of evil?
Most evil person.
Maybe our current Chancellor of Education, Minister of Education. Sorry,
it's probably Gove. Actually, to be honest,
yeah,
he's got to come.
Actually, I mean, it's probably Mitch McConnell, right? I mean, out of anyone,
of
any current politician, it must be.
Is Mitch McConnell the one that really looks like the creature from Pan's Labyrinth with the
Jabba? Yeah, I've seen the meme. Yes, he is. Yeah,
okay, that's
the one with the eyes in his hands. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I'm sure he wouldn't say so.
We shouldn't take the piss out of someone because of their physical appearance, really, but those jowls do look pretty evil. Looks quite melty.
I don't think we're taking the piss out of him by saying that. I think it's mere observation, right?
Yeah, I guess if he didn't want people to call him evil, he shouldn't have been so evil.
Yeah, I mean, the evil thing and the fact that he looks like Hands, Eyes, Face is a separate point altogether.
Yeah. We just probably wouldn't bring the second one up if the first one wasn't quite so unrelentingly true.
Yeah, exactly. Like if people wouldn't. Oh, I don't know. That's not necessarily true, I guess. Like Theresa, like people talked about Theresa May's dancing a lot.
I quite like that, really. But
I quite like the dancing.
Yeah,
people were like, she can't dance. I was like, fuck you. Anyone can dance.
Yeah,
if they want to. Don't take the piss. criticize her terrible foreign policy, not her inability to dance.
I thought that was going towards a safety dance reference. Thought you were like, you can dance if you want to.
Yeah, that would have been. I should have said that. Yeah,
I don't think there was
Kudos
a
on the joke.
way to work it around. I was trying to get there, but I couldn't. I couldn't in time. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
well, this is the first time you and I have spoken since last podcast.
Yeah.
Which I've still not. I mean, at this point, it's still not uploaded to anything, so there is zero chance of anyone hearing it. Toby, my little brother, wanted to listen to it in the car going back up from Christmas, but I forgot to send it to him. So
nightmare.
So that is only I have heard it, not even you.
I've not heard it. I've not heard it. But I suppose that means that, like, in a period of time from now, that's going to be very valuable. These are going to be like the kind of lost recordings, those kind of early sessions, halcyon days.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think there's people will look back on these and be like, "Wow, is that really what they used to be like?" Now they're fascist leaders.
Fascist.
Before they made some sort of tin pot podcast during Corona lockdown.
Yeah. Maybe. No, but I mean, like, I suppose if we ever did make it, super big as fascist dictators, like you said, then we could, those early recordings of the Phil and Ollie show for Source FM would be like kind of collector's items,
Absolutely. We could, in fact, that could probably keep us going. That could be pension money,
Yeah. I mean, gonna have to earn a lot, to keep us in the style that we're going to be accustomed to by the time we've become dictators. But
you sounded so. The dictators thing was obviously a joke. I think, more akin to socialist.
Yeah, might have a kind of autocratic socialist regime instead.
Yeah, some sort of delightful republic.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
run
delightful.
By a council of elders.
Elders.
But I don't know.
I guess we'll be old at that point. So yeah, good.
Yeah, you want to move into politics late in life, not because you have experience and wisdom, as is like obvious from our current roster of politicians, but mostly because it's dull, right? You want to get rid of leave the dull stuff for later.
I don't know. I mean, there's quite a lot of exciting intrigue that goes on. It's probably incredibly petty, though. That's the thing. I reckon politics, behind the scenes must be just quite like amazingly petty.
Yeah, it's all about sides, isn't it? And like favors and backing and,
having no shame, I think.
And how can you get away with not having any shame?
I don't really mean that.
With shame.
Yeah, I don't really mean that in the sense of like, going and like, so how do you sleep at night when you're like, not supporting some policy that's like going to help lots of people out? I more mean like having no shame to just go and ask for what you want at all times. Like, you're happy to just approach someone and ask them to put themselves out there for you, and knowing full well that you'll never repay them, like that kind of thing. I struggle with that a lot. Like bothering people. I hate bothering people. I feel ashamed to bother someone. But if you're a politician, you can't. You have to just be like, look, you there, pleb, do this thing for me.
I am getting better at it. Like recently, last year I was a runner on a BBC job in Birmingham, and recently I emailed the woman whose sister I met at my aunt's wedding. So I emailed her again saying, have you got any more running jobs? I'd love to do some more.
That's good.
And I used to, it's good. And I used to be really against that sort of thing personally, because I feel like I'd be, putting people out or bothering them. But, you only get what you ask for in a way. And as long as you do it in a courteous way and say, by the way, if you're busy, don't worry about it, then, there's no problem. I know that's a stretch from political life. I don't know what political life is like. I've never been in it.
That's completely the thing. I mean, it is that. I mean, that's why people hate networking, because they find the idea of it like sort of gross. But actually, oftentimes people want to do you a favor,
Yeah, the majority of people do. Absolutely. It's like I rang someone today for like, admittedly, quite a personal reason, so I won't go into it, but to do with my relationship, and I wanted her advice on something because she was an expert in the field. And to be honest, that's probably quite a compliment. Sorry, my laptop went dark then. I thought I'd lost you forever.
It's okay. Yeah, no, that's.
Well, I'm just waiting for my battery to explode. We talked about this off air, but my battery, my laptop's has an overheating problem at the moment. So bear with me.
If Ollie disappears suddenly, his house
or
may
there's
have
a
burned
sound
down.
of spontaneous combustion or something like that. It wouldn't be spontaneous, would it? It'd be building up. But anyway, I was talking about people want to give you favors, especially if you want like advice from someone, they're going to be complimented that they consider they think you're.
That you think that they are an expert?
Yes, absolutely that. Thank you for sorting out my syntax.
You had the wrong
It's getting all muddled.
Yeah,
it's getting all confused.
Oh.
Hence why no one will ever ring me up for diction or syntax advice, but I'm fine with that. I've come to terms with it.
I mean, would you really want, I wouldn't want someone to ask me for a question about something I was not an expert in and then expect like a good answer.
Well, yeah, if the expectation's there, definitely. But if they just want your tuppence, then your tuppence only. Then yeah, why not? Although I would still be remiss to give them advice if it was something important. I don't know, should I murder this man? And I'd be like, well, I'm not an expert on murder.
I've always found murder to be a morally grey area.
Yeah, in terms of the ethical ramifications of murder, I don't really have enough of an understanding to say whether you should or not.
Bloody atheist.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a moral system because we don't believe in some sort of doctrine written 2,000 years ago where, the ethics were completely and utterly different. But
yeah. It's almost like those lessons aren't relevant to us. We have a strong sense of what's right and wrong inherent.
Yeah, just by looking at how your actions affect the people and world around you.
Yeah.
But what is secularization?
I don't need to stab a knife into my hand to know that I wouldn't like it. Like, I don't need to murder someone to know that it's wrong. It's just, I mean, that's actually completely false equivalence, but yeah.
You'd be good in court, Phil.
I mean, I've been in court.
For what reason?
I was actually there on work experience for my uncle.
Really?
Yeah.
What is he? Is he a barrister?
Yeah, he's a barrister. We went and saw some. I went and saw whilst he was defending a guy who eventually got, I think, done for beating up his wife, basically. Wow. But it was quite messy because basically it was all to do with their divorce settlement as well. But I think he probably had been a real dick. Like, he seemed like he might have. I can't say whether or not he did it, I guess. But a lot of it was to do with getting more money out of him in the divorce, which he probably deserved to get.
Such a tricky job. Have you ever seen the film 12 Angry Men?
No, I should watch that, though. It sounds great.
You should definitely watch it. It's like, I like films that could technically be a theatre play, Breakfast Club's a really good example, I think. And 12 Angry Men is one of those. In fact, it is a play. Right. But, yeah, it's really worth watching. It's sort of about, the deliberations of a jury and how you can be sure if you can be sure if a man is certain based on witness evidence and stuff like that, which ultimately you can't. You just have to make a good sort of evidence-based judgment.
Well, yeah, that's the whole beyond reasonable doubt thing in America, right? Is that you have to be it has to be beyond reasonable doubt, and so really, a lot of people who might have done it should actually probably go free if it can't be proved. So there's. But I think the tendency with people is it's quite hard to put that out of your head. Because if you think they've done it, then you're going to want to, vote to convict. Even if you don't think the evidence is like airtight, basically.
I was going to ask you, if you wanted anyone to ring you for advice and that you would consider yourself an expert on, what would you want them to ring up on?
Well, apart from
rowing techniques.
Yeah, well, apart from the obvious. I did a PhD in batteries, so that.
Yeah. I read about someone. I don't know how enjoyable this is for a random listener, but I read about someone we went to school with. I don't know if we're trying not to say names anymore, are we? Because the first podcast we did, we just told really embarrassing stories about our friends and named them, like the boy who filled his foreskin with sand. Unfortunately, I had to have it removed. I removed that out of the first podcast, and now I brought it up again. So Well, we haven't mentioned his name, so it's all good, right? No one knows who that might be. If you know anyone that mutually knows Philip and I and doesn't have a foreskin, there's a good chance he filled it with sand. And it got infected and he had to have it removed.
Who could it be? No one knows.
Who is it? Who do we know? Just have a good old think about that. I was going to say there was someone who we went to school with who did a PhD in batteries as well. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know who you mean.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say anymore. I don't know.
I mean,
we should have some
say it. Why not? Rules. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Well, he's called Mr. Hulk.
Yeah. The Incredible.
Okay. The Incredible Hulk, absolutely.
So, because the old Incredible Hulk did he did a project in my old group. Like he worked under my professor, and then he went to Oxford to do his PhD. So, wow. I've not met him since. It would actually be really interesting to talk to him because he's a really clever guy at school.
He's very clever,
and I'm sure he's still an absolute monster. And it'd probably be really interesting.
I think we can say people's names as long as it's not disparaging.
As long as it's not the foreskin story. Really, we're in the clear, I think.
I don't know. I think I could probably think of some other stories that would be ill-advised to say the person.
Let's say that's at least the bar. Like, if it's worse than that, don't say it. If it's not as bad, then
the foreskin bar.
Yeah, the old foreskin line. Yeah.
I guess that's probably more about it being. Oh God! Sorry.
Jesus.
Oh, that is terrible.
You definitely can't do that.
No, I can't do that. That's worse than saying someone's name and then telling people that their foreskins.
Like I've picked that habit up as well. Like the Ollie Cummins abrupt burp.
Right, well, I might not. I don't know whether I'm going to include that or not. Let's just have a little pause and then carry on.
Please,
I'll put it in. I mean, it was the worst thing. People need to know what we're about and who I am and who you are.
This is reality, mate. This is all truth.
This is it. It's the bare bones. There's no editing. Well, there might be a little bit of editing going on.
I mean, we owe the people some editing.
I think the people are owed editing. I mean, there has to be some level of quality control. Otherwise, you might as well just, I don't know, go and listen to a load of dogs barking. It would probably be about as entertaining.
Yeah, we could probably make a podcast of that. I mean, yeah. I don't know, though.
I don't know about that.
I'm scared of dogs, though, so not so much these days. But
my partner's house have just recently got a new dog.
Oh yeah, you didn't send me any photos, you bastard.
Yes, I did. I sent you a video with the dog behind what looks like prison bars.
Did you? Oh no, I don't. Oh man, I'm looking. I must have seen it and not like clicked on it.
Watch it now.
I'm going to watch it now. Wait, where did he send it?
Some sort of WhatsApp group.
Oh, was it to the whole gang?
Yeah, it was to the whole gang because that's where you asked me to.
Yeah.
There might be someone in that gang who wants filled their foreskin. Oh, no,
I said send pictures of the dog, please, and then he said sure, and then I said stop smooching your girl and send dog photos, and then no, I've received none.
Well, I was very busy smooching, and it was very difficult to stay on topic. Hang on.
That makes sense.
Let me have a little look at my phone. I tell you what, this is good radio. This is classic. This is like I feel like Russell Brand right now. Do you? I listened to his podcast, his old radio show yesterday. Yeah, the glory days are behind him, but I miss him being a sort of arrogant, egocentric maniac.
Yeah, the thing is, it's probably a lot better for him to be like a kind of more even-keeled, sort of pseudo-sage kind of guy.
Yeah.
It's probably much more enjoyable to live that life. But yeah, I quite like the unhinged wild man.
I think he had that phase, and now it's over.
The thing is, I think when we listened to that radio show, that was probably about sort of 20% of how crazy he ever was, right? But then, like, because of the drugs. So, like, when he was properly on heroin and etc., and he was making TV shows. I mean, that's 10 out of 10. As batshit as he ever was, probably radio show is like 3 or 4 out of 10. And then, like, now he's like, he's got a kid. He seems very happy with his life. He's probably like a 1 out of 10.
I mean, I think when he was recording the TV show called Rebrand, I think that was when he was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
So I think that That's the one where he
Fights his dad.
He fights his dad, and he like has a homosexual experience with a random man in a pub toilet just to see what it's like. Yeah, he's definitely, and he pisses himself. He like takes off his jeans and starts throwing them at cars. Like he's definitely, yeah, you're right. That's definitely further up on the scale.
Yeah,
if you want to give it a 1 to 10 scale, I don't know. I think it's a bit arbitrary.
It's a little bit much for me, I'd say. You know, I'm more of a I like my Russell crazy, but not not overly edge.
With his with his at least with the ability to think straight, with his wits.
Also,
because he's a very witty person.
Yeah, the straight man sidekick, I think, is the key as well. Yeah. Like once Matt Morgan got involved, then it all started to become really good.
Yeah. Yeah, you need someone to drag you back in when you're getting a bit out of control. Who do you think would be what's our dynamic, Phil?
Oh, you're definitely Russell. You're definitely Russell.
Yeah, I just don't have the past steeped in Class A drugs.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm kind of happy that you don't have that.
Maybe a couple of C's and B's. Yeah. And a long time of smoking cigarettes, but that doesn't make one crazy. It just makes you incredibly... I mean, I'm just like... And instead of having psychosis, I'm just a massive hypochondriac. Aww. It's not quite as entertaining for other people.
I don't know. We can work with this. Tell me all the things you're afraid of.
That just lists my health concerns. I mean, today I've got like some sort of rib thing going on. I've got something. I got something called costochondritis, which is like an inflammation of rib cartilage. Should we have guests at some point?
Yeah, we could have guests. I don't know if we can have anyone who's ever like had a sand sort of penis experience. So I don't know. We have to like vet the guests. Oh, I knew that would get you.
Okay. No, you're right. Well, I don't know if I don't know if having sand in your foreskin at any point in your life means that you now are unable to be a good contribution to the podcast. I think if anything, you're probably more likely to be a good contributor because of it.
Yeah. True.
I don't really have any stories like that. I have a story. Like there was a time when I was on a beach with my parents having a tour, and I was very sure, I was very certain, convinced that the tide was going to come in and kill us all and sweep us all away. So I kept asking everyone in the group to go back to the car park. That's it though. That's the story.
I mean, that's a beach story though. But like, I remember your mum telling me all about how when you were a kid or like a little baby, like when you guys were waiting in shopping lines. I didn't put sand in my foreskin.
If that's what he's going to say, I did not do that.
No, you pinch people's bums in the supermarket.
Oh yeah, no, she does like telling that.
And then they'd look around, and then you'd look all adorable, and she would be there like, Oliver.
It's funny because it's exactly the sort of thing I still do.
Yeah,
and mostly because Sean is my number one apologist. So she's like covers for everything I do. Even now, I have stories about misbehaving in school, like spitting at teaching assistants and refusing to follow disciplinary rules. And she still says people that didn't understand me. She still takes my side, and I'm always been a bit confused by that. The spitting incident in particular.
I was wrong.
I don't think it's okay to spit in someone's face, especially as an assistant. I think they were a volunteer.
Oh, jeez. Wait, when was this?
I don't know. When I was
like primary school time.
No, I think. I think before that. I think by primary school.
Okay.
Phil and I met in primary school. I moved to where you lived, Cornwall, in like year 4. I think.
Yeah, it was quite disruptive.
I was quite disruptive. I sat in year 6. I sat at Mrs. Masterson's desk for the entire year. She moved me to the front of the room in like the second week.
Yeah,
I actually, in hindsight, and actually, I've just probably realised. I think I might have been. I think someone might have told her about me. Yeah. Why would she do it? She wouldn't do it that early. And then I remained there for the whole year.
She was probably waiting for any excuse because
Yeah.
whoever we had in year 5, like Mr. Howe or whatever, would have said to her, "Look,
Yeah.
Ollie Cummins, he's an all right lad. He's clever enough, but he is a fucking pain.
He's a distraction.
He's a
Huge
big distraction. Just isolate him immediately, and it'll all be fine." Like,
I do wonder if I was like 10 years younger, I wonder if I would just have been diagnosed with ADHD, because I think it might have been something like that.
yeah.
Or like, I don't know, I just couldn't focus, and it carried on throughout secondary school as well. And to be honest, I don't know if it's ever changed.
Well, I mean, we all enjoyed it, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, it didn't stop me. I mean, I remember like she stood up and everyone was stood up, and I would just do stupid dances behind her or something.
Yeah, that was the great mistake. Is your desk was so far at the front that it was like she couldn't see you if she was teaching. So
it was an oversight. It was an oversight. Mrs. Masterson, maybe rethink your plans.
I rated her as a teacher, actually, though, I have to say.
Yeah, she was great. I've seen her since, and I said to her what a fantastic teacher she was. I think she might have raised an eyebrow, remembering what it was like trying to teach me. But yeah, it was. Yeah, she was all right. And Mrs. Martin, the crazy, scary dinner lady.
Oh, I haven't seen her.
Oh, I've seen her. I think she's got younger.
Really?
Yeah, looks wise. Yeah, because when we were at school, she looked like Mrs. Truncheon from Matilda in terms of scariness, but like maybe 20 years older. whereas now, I don't know. She looks basically the same. Yeah, it has been a while since I've seen her though.
Good for her.
But it's good. It's good that she's still taking along. I don't think she's a lunch lady anymore.
Yeah, well,
I think she might be a prison warden now.
More your speed. No, oh dear.
More your speed.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense, did it?
Okay. So in terms of plans for the show, did you think about anything, or are we just sort of winging it?
No, I thought we'd just wing it. I mean, we're a half an hour in now, and I haven't really thought once. So
I haven't thought about this show since the last one, but I feel like if anything, the bare minimum should be maybe just finding some funny news stories to talk about, something like that.
Yeah, the trouble is the news isn't very funny at the moment, is it?
I think there's just it was just where you look, isn't it? Like, I think you've got to look past the first couple of pages of any newspaper, or just stay off the main stories of any newspaper website. And I don't know. I bet you there's a newspaper or a magazine that just focuses on stupid, funny stories, and I will try and find it before the next one.
If not, you should start that. It could be your
I should
calling.
start that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we should do what we did for the show back when we were 18, which is just make up our own audience correspondence.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
We should at the end of this one, I mean, I've sort of ruined it now by saying it, but we should just ask people to email in, give out an email, right. and then just before we next meet, just write our own, just make it up and lie to people.
Or maybe I'll send you emails that you have to read, and you can send me emails I have to read.
What, knowing that that's the email, knowing that it's each other. I mean,
yeah, well, no, but if I send you an email from Mrs. Meggins, but like,
yeah, but it's going to have your email address.
Yeah, but if I write the email and I sign it off Miss Meggins, then what you do is then you have to read it. So it's not, I'm not going to be reading my own emails.
Oh, so I'm in on it, but I haven't read it yet.
You can't read it beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. But next time. Next podcast, we should just pretend that we didn't have this conversation.
Yeah, we should we could even cut this whole part.
Nah.
Oh, to peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's in the little.
There's no curtain. There's no fourth wall.
It's just us
being idiots,
talking about sand and foreskin. Have you got any nice beach stories, Phil?
I don't know. I mean, I got lost on beaches a few times, I guess. I used to love a beach which had like a little stream on it, and dig out all the, like, make a little sort of dam network or something.
I think I remember doing that with you.
Yeah, it's my favourite. I still do it now if I had the time, it was more sort of socially acceptable, I guess.
Would you wear Speedo? Would you just be there in some Speedies?
I mean, I do have Speedos. In fact, I
Yeah,
have 2 pairs of Speedos.
for exercise-based swimming.
Yeah.
It's funny because you rock up at a swimming pool in a gym in Speedos. People will think, that's fine. He's here to exercise. He wants to be more aerodynamic. That's fine. Maybe he's trying to beat an old time. Who knows? Whereas you rock up to at the height of summer at Cornish Beach and you rock those Speedos, those same Speedos. I think people will give you more suspicious looks, especially when you're in the little streams next to their kids.
So if you're at the little stream, definitely you're getting some funny,
asking to borrow their bucket and spade.
Like, let's make a dam.
Come on, everyone, let's make a dam.
Yeah.
You could borrow my goggles.
But I think if you're on the beach just regularly, either they would assume that you're wanting to get a tan or that you're in the rugby team. I think.
You think rugby?
Although
do rugby players wear Speedos?
Yes, they do.
Confidence, you think?
Yeah, and it's also just like a sort of obsession with sort of genitalia.
Homoeroticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, they take a look at you and be like, you're not a rugby player, mate.
No, they look at
so
you.
I am a tall, skinny boy.
I think you're an NBA basketball player or, I don't know, a pole vaulter. The pole vaulters had to be tall. They
probably think I'm exactly what I am, which is a big nerd.
Well, I don't know about that. Not from looking at you. You're not quite like the sort of, and no offense intended, but the sort of Stephen Merchant type looking, are you?
No,
I fall into that category.
I'm not that tall. I actually
you're
think
not
I'm
that tall,
very
and
handsome.
you're not that cool. You are very handsome.
Thank you, Ollie. Oh, look at me fishing for compliments. That's been casting out my line and then reeling them in.
What sort of catch was it? How much did it weigh? 18 ouncer?
I don't know, but I'm gonna be feeling good about it all day, so it's worth a lot to me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How's Ruth?
It's all right, mate. Yeah, she's in London right now. She's doing her PhD. She's back in the lab, traveling despite all the COVID, which she's technically allowed to do, which is crazy.
Because of student status.
Well, because she can't work from home. Like, she can't complete her work from home because she works on a big laser. We don't have one of those.
You don't have a big laser? We've got a big laser in the front room.
Not like this one you haven't, mate. This laser is fancy as hell.
It's as big as the one that they have in James Bond.
It's not really the size of the laser. It's more about like how it does these very, 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 very short laser pulses, which is useful for lots of things.
Like what?
So, like, say something like
circumcisions after a certain.
It could certainly be used for that.
Handy incident.
No, it wouldn't work for that because it's like it's an infrared laser, so it would just.
Oh, I see.
Actually, no, it probably would work for that because it's an infrared laser. I don't know.
Focused enough, it might cut through human tissue.
I'm probably not going to ask Ruth when she gets back because she's going to be really tired. And if I suddenly start talking about foreskins on the drive home, I think that's just not going to go over very well.
No, fair enough. All right. Let's talk about something more romantic. Like your foreskin.
Haven't got one, mate. Had to come off after the sand incident.
It was Phil all along.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't me.
When is she coming back?
In about. Well, I'm going to go pick her up in about half an hour. So
from London?
No. I'll go to the station. She's getting the train home, but it's windy here. Would
you say you feel like half a person when she's not around?
No.
No, fair enough. Yes,
no, I think that's a bit weird. I definitely feel better together. You know, it's nice.
You feel like two people together, like double a person.
Yeah, it's like twice as much, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it literally is.
Yeah. Well, not quite. Ruth's quite a lot smaller than me.
Yeah, but she's probably. Oh no, yeah, she probably has less mass than you. Yeah, that's true.
She definitely does. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, so does mine. Thinking about it.
Yeah, don't talk about how much mass she has. I mean,
well, yeah, that is a subject to stay clear of. Your girlfriend's mass, absolutely. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It doesn't even matter if you're like if you're trying to, do applied mathematics or something, trying to work out her weight on the moon or something. Taking gravity, it does not matter. You never bring it up.
Yeah, the key is if it's anything like that, just to do it as a conversion factor, So instead of being like, okay, on on the Earth I weigh this much, and like so that's or like my mass is this, and I exhibit this much force due to gravity, etc. Just scale it so it's like, oh, it's 20%. Never calculate the exact value.
Never put a kg behind it. Absolutely not.
This is where algebra can actually be useful in your life.
Romantically,
yeah.
I tell you when you can talk about your girlfriend's mass is when she's performing certain Catholic ceremonies.
Oh, nice. Although, of course,
it's got
bit of a sort of sexist religion, isn't it? Catholicism, though, like not a lot of women performing masses because don't have female priesthood. Yeah.
Are they still not have female priesthood?
Don't think so. I think the new pope, the current pope, is pretty progressive young man, isn't he? But I don't know if he's got that through.
Do you think the Pope? Is the career that has the shortest lifespan on average?
Interesting. No, I don't think so.
I guess most popes probably stop becoming pope before they die. Do they?
No, most popes previously
die as the pope.
Yeah. Previously, it was very, very, very uncommon. I think there's only a couple of popes ever have said, "I'm not going to be the pope anymore."
Why would they do that? Because they get a bit bored.
Yeah, or they felt like they weren't the right person, or like they had a sort of crisis of faith, or I guess you could back in the day you might have wanted to resign the papacy because you're worried you're going to be deposed and probably killed or declared an anti-pope.
Okay. We talked about popes in the last one, so I feel like maybe we should
stick clear of the pope question.
I don't want this podcast to get too pope heavy. What I'd quite like to go back to is when you mentioned that on beaches you like building dams in there. So I think what Phil means is sometimes on beaches there's I guess it's basically streams or rivers running down from the top of the beach into the sea, and it creates these kind of channels. I don't know what it is. It's not sewage, is it? It's
well, it depends which beach you're on, but yeah.
Yeah, it does depend which beach you're on. I think most of the time it's just
it's just water drainage,
a stream or estuary or something.
A lot of beaches, like particularly in Cornwall, a lot of beaches, they're at the end of a valley, and there's a little river that runs through the valley and out onto the beach, basically, and it's just sort of, you know, I don't know, Porthtown or whatever, or
Chapel Porth.
The thing is, some of them are more polluted than others because obviously a lot of like runoff from fields ends up in them. So if it rains a lot, particularly somewhere like Gwithian Beach, like the Red River, that gets full of shit. Blood. Basically. No, that's just called the Red River. That's the name of the river. But
does it run red with the blood of your enemies?
Not yet, but it will.
Why? You're going to take them all down there in a minibus?
I mean,
how are you going to get them all there?
Oh, we're going to need a bigger boat than that, mate. Minibus ain't going to do
it. I got into an argument the other day with a flatmate because they said something like, "Oh, it's like Jaws," and I was like, "Jaws isn't the name of the shark; it's the name of the film." Is that right? Jaws, the shark isn't called Jaws.
I don't know. Did you not look it up?
No, I didn't. I guess I probably could now if I wanted to, but I can't be bothered. Can you?
I'm doing it. Is the shark called Jaws? Bruce is the name of the great white shark in Jaws.
Bruce is called, okay, all right. And they were like, oh no, Jaws is going to get us. I was like, do you mean Jaws from Moonraker? That's the second Moonraker reference I've made. I don't know why I'm doing it.
You're well into it.
I haven't seen it in about 16 years, probably something like that. That's quite a specific amount. I don't know the last time I saw it.
I don't know if I've ever seen Moonraker.
It's the one with isn't Moonraker the one on the moon, right?
It's the
big laser.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, of course, it's called Moonraker.
Yes.
And the shark in Jaws is called Jaws.
Yeah.
The kind of full circle on the old stupidity. It's and Jaws is in a spacesuit. Yeah, it's a good one. It's the one with the little laser guns. Choo choo. It's good. It's good.
Is it is it Roger Moore?
I think it might be.
Yeah, maybe I have seen it then. Well,
my Bond knowledge isn't great.
No, why would it be? Not very good.
Why would it be? Well, I don't know. I've got a bucket list of 100 films. Have I ever told you all this or shown you it?
I haven't seen the list, but yeah, I think you've told me about it. Yeah,
it's very good. It's like a big poster with 100 films on it, and when you watch it, you scratch a little tile off,
nice.
And there's a little illustration behind it. But Casino Royale was on that. I mean, it doesn't ever claim anywhere on the list that it's the best 100 films, but it does sort of insinuate that they are, iconic and
they're worth watching.
Up there with the best. I mean, The Godfather's on there, obviously.
What a
Things
movie.
like, but there's also like, have you ever seen Rocky?
Yeah, I have seen Rocky.
Right. Well, I don't want to divide our audience, or you and I, for that matter. But Rocky is honestly one of the worst films I've ever seen. And I don't understand why people think it's good.
I mean, I think Rocky's...
Is it one of those sort of get into it type thing deals?
So I think it's it's a funny one, right? Because it's a bit like how lots of music is considered iconic and amazing because it's like groundbreaking. But then later on, you're like, well, other people evolved the style and did it better. So I like that more. But at the time, if I'd gone through that revolution, like that might be the iconic thing, which I just think like it's the original and the best.
I see what you're saying.
So it's quite a genre. I think it's quite like a unique, like maybe it's quite an it advances the genre quite a bit.
I think what you're saying is hindsight is easily warps your perception of something that is, like you say, groundbreaking. I mean, frankly, there is another film on that list where I think John Carpenter's Halloween, which is the same, but I've chosen to identify that a lot more, which is that it was one of the first like proper iconic slashers, like one of the first ever slasher films.
Yeah.
But when you watch it by today's standards, it's I don't know, it's pretty funny, I suppose. Like how silly.
Well, like a lot of things which later become cliches are not cliches in the time of Rocky.
Yes, okay.
And I think also like Sylvester Stallone's character has been so parodied that it is ridiculous when he's like, Adrian! But like, it's actually quite a sort of, I think it's quite a sort of tender portrayal of like a guy who's not that smart and has to like, because we're used to sort of razor sharp protagonists who have witty lines and entertain you while the story's happening. But like Rocky's like dumb as a rock. Like he is, he works for the mob and he doesn't realize it basically.
There are just some things that I have like serious issues with. One is the scene where he invites her into his house and basically like corners her after she clearly does not consent to being there. It's like serious rapey vibes, and I don't care what people say, like modern standards are more than they used to be. It's still like, non-consensual sexual interaction is still that, it doesn't matter if it's more or less accepted or not. Although I do accept that just by showing it in a film, that's not advocating for it, that is just exploring the subject. But it's never really questioned at any point. And also the fight itself, I've only seen Rocky 1, so it might get better, but like it's just like he doesn't put his hands up to block his face. And sometimes when he got punched, because obviously the acting requires him to make it look like he's getting punched really hard without actually getting punched really hard, it looks more like he's headbutting the glove more than like, more than actually taking one to the chops. So I don't know. I don't have anything personal against Sylvester Stallone or Rocky or the filmmaker director, I think they're usually called. But when I watched it, I was not a fan. There are some other great films though on that film that I love. 12 Angry Men is one of them. I'd never seen that before. Intouchable, the French film about the carer for the rich quadriplegic man he hires.
The Untouchables.
Intouchables.
Yeah,
that's right.
That is a banger. That is a great film.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's one of my favorite films ever now, I think. It's really good. Plus, Ludovico Einaudi is like the majority of the soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh.
And I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Ludovico, if you're listening, I promised not to talk about your foreskin and the sound you put but you'll just have to forgive me, okay? I apologize. All right.
Yeah, I love the idea of him being in our group chat.
In our audience? Oh, what, in here? What live?
No, in our group chat, oh,
I see.
It's all our old friends, and then just like
Ludovico
Einaudi is just there, like sending us videos from playing inspirational piano.
Yeah, and in between like the cat memes or
Yeah,
whatever we usually post.
yeah, it's just wall to wall cat memes.
What else is on that? The some Coen Brothers films. I watched The Big Lebowski very recently.
Cohen runs up the wing. No.
Wow, that is a very niche reference, Phil. Phil has just referenced the PS2 game Rugby 2006 or 2008.
I think it might be 2004 because it's after the World Cup. But yeah, I don't remember.
Unbelievable! I can't believe you just thought about that. Yeah, back when we used to play rugby on the PS2.
Oh,
What a weird thing to do, I guess.
well,
Not really.
not really. Sports games, but sports games always have that where they have commentary. Where like obviously like now it's getting better, so they record like phrases like whole cloth. But you know, back in the day when it was just like you say Martin Tyler or whatever for a football game would be like, "That's a brilliant ball," and then like it would be like by Sanchez or whatever. Like it wouldn't quite match up. Like they had to sort of put it together in post.
I always thought the best example of that is when they say the teams. You know, it's like Crystal Palace versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Like it's like the cadence of the sentence isn't right.
Yeah, or they have a color commentator. For like, I still remember for FIFA 2003. I think it's what's his name, the Scottish guy. There's lots of them in football, but he says like if you miss a shot, he goes when you blast it over the bar, he goes, well, he had two options there, per and placement. I think he went for the wrong one. Like he would say that every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, it has come a long way, hasn't it?
I still
haven't
think
played
that.
a FIFA since 19, but that's relatively recent and it has come a long way. Yeah, I think that. High, wide, and not at all handsome.
Yeah.
That one as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like in the last one I played, there was a really funny like error in the programming where someone would say, "Oh, he almost got that in, didn't he?" And then like and then the other one would always reply with something like, "Absolutely not." And it's just like, okay, that was not a good example. I can't remember the example, but it didn't make sense. Anyway, excellent. Oh, I can't tell stories. Back to foreskins. Back to something I know.
Back to it. Oh dear, Oliver. Well, I'm glad you seem to be doing. You know, doing all right. You know, you seem to be very chipper and a good mood.
I didn't do my section on counselling.
Yeah, you're going to tell us deep personal things,
deep personal truths from my heart, all the way from my heart, my liver, my foreskin.
Oh,
no, it's been great. I can't advocate counselling enough, and my counsellor told me that this would happen. She was like, if you start feeling good about getting counselling, you'll want everyone you know to also feel like that. So you'll start advocating counselling to everyone, and I have been doing that. But I don't know. I will just say that if anyone's thinking about it, to begin with, I wasn't sure if it would help me, and because of the uncertainty, I put it off for a long time. And it took me like 4 or 5 sessions, but it's really, really starting to feel like a lot of help. So if anyone's thinking about it, if you have any semblance of like counseling might help me, just do it. Like, and you can just stop if you don't like it.
Yeah, I suppose you've got nothing to lose, really.
Well, I've been thinking this. I am quite fortunate in that I don't have anything in my life traumatic enough to not make me want to talk about it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think part of the problem a lot of times with therapy and counselling is that people have had something which they've either repressed or hidden or are so ashamed of, to the extent that they really like have a lot of natural defense mechanisms to not talk about it.
Yeah.
That's when it works for me because I want to do it. That's the thing. So
yeah,
you have to try and get yourself in that headspace. You have to convince yourself that you are worth getting better, you know.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, I guess I don't think I have anything very traumatic either, so there's not a big barrier. But what do you actually do? Do you just chat? Like, it's
Ollie's counselling corner.
No, tell me about it.
So it's quite funny actually. My counsellor's called Anna, and she's a trainee. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say it. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? It's not like she filled her foreskin.
She doesn't have one. Just like foreskin boy.
So she's called Anna. She is a lovely woman. I think I think she's still training, which I thought would get in the way, but it really hasn't. Basically, we say hello and exchange pleasantries, and then it's funny. Like every time before counselling, I'm like, "Oh God, I'm not going to have anything to talk about. I feel so lethargic today. I don't have anything." And then I'll be like, she'll be like, "Right, where do you want to start? I'll give the reins over to you." And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know what I want to talk about, but there is this thing." And then I like spend 50 minutes talking, just like rambling. She can barely get a word in most of the time, and then it gets to the end, and she's like, "I'm gonna have to. Sorry, Ollie. I'm gonna have to stop you there. The session's over." And I'm like, "What? It's been an hour. What are you talking about? I've just started getting somewhere."
Oh no.
Yeah. I've been told that the main difference between therapy and counseling is counseling, they let you talk through stuff with prompts so that you can find the tools to help yourself from within yourself. And therapy is a lot more, I guess, regimented in a way, as in like, you know, they will set you tasks. They will use the tools of therapy to help you get better. So I like counseling's a lot more sort of self-help, I think, although they both are in nature fundamentally.
Yeah. I think it's just helpful to have someone that you can just basically unload about anything, and it sort of like has zero consequences. Because I guess like, you know, I've got Ruth, so you know, we've been together for almost 8 years. And like we should
8 years.
Yeah, so we can basically talk about anything, I guess. Like, I mean, we are basically a team for all intents and purposes, but like, you know, you wouldn't want to talk about certain stuff because you wouldn't want to change someone's image of you, or you might feel that like, and even with like a friend, like, you know, a really good friend, like I would hesitate to talk to you about like certain aspects of my life just because I don't think it's like helpful.
There's loads of things. And it's also like there's so many things that you associate with shame, and that consequently you don't want like people that are actively in your life to know about them, just in case you're right, it does change their opinion of you. That's the biggest fear, I think. So it's like, yeah, it's great, third party. And also I guess I'm lucky in that like I find it really easy to talk about anything. It's like it's fortunate that I don't go off about certain things on this podcast. I have the self-control, but I would happily, you know, with obviously the consent of the people involved, except for Skid Boy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're probably a counsellor's dream, really. Because like they must get people who just don't want to talk, and then it's like, so where should we start? And they're like, well, don't know. And you're like, well, why don't you tell me about what you had for breakfast? And like, I didn't eat any breakfast.
Tell me about what's the quality of your stool? I don't do poos.
I've never done one.
Breakfast. I've never done one. I poo out of my mouth through like vomit.
Oh Jesus! Well, that's going to get you talking about whatever fucked up shit's going on there.
That's definitely a conversation opener.
Yeah. Use that one on the old Tinder profile.
Oh man, I haven't been on Tinder. Have you ever been on Tinder?
No.
You know, that's amazing. How? What's the secret to your success, Phil? After 8 years, what would you say the secret is?
I guess just find a good person.
And what about those people who aren't good people?
Yeah, well then
who don't deserve a good person.
Then you're screwed, I think.
You deserve to be alone, or you deserve to find another person who's.
I think you need to. This is going to sound arrogant because it's going to imply that I am a good person, but I think you need to be a good enough person yourself, and you need to believe that you deserve to be with someone who's also good.
There you go. So it's mostly about sort of giving yourself the self-value that you deserve.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like you got to be kind to each other, and you got to do more than your fair share, or you got to feel like you're doing more than your fair share. You should never feel like your partner owes you something, like because you made them a really nice birthday card, and then like you're waiting for your birthday to come around, and like, oh, they better make me a really nice birthday card. That's not how it works. Like,
no,
they can express their love in a different way. I mean, let's just say this. I mean, Ruth's birthday card's fucking spectacular, but mine is shit.
What did you do for Ruth's birthday card?
Oh no! Well, her birthday's in June, so I've got a few months to think about it. But actually, it's a tricky time because
it's routinely brilliant, is it?
I mean, they're always amazing because Ruth's a good artist. She can draw and has great ideas.
Oh, I see. You're saying that she gives you good cards and you give her shit.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought you were saying the other way around.
Oh no!
But do you not remember that like I think you do give good cards because there was like rather existential card you gave your father that had him when he was 50. You drew him as a cricketer, and
Oh yeah,
it said half a century on it, as if he was implying not only has he had 50 years, but he's only got 50 left.
No, well, you could
quite like that.
You can make a double ton, like.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess you can keep going beyond 100. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so.
It's a wholesome analogy. No, I think I've been.
Wait, you thought I was putting a time limit? It's like in 50 years, you'll have to die. Sorry, father.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, 100 is pretty good going.
Would be doing pretty well, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Well, Marky Reeves, he's pretty hale and hearty. I think he just sent me a text actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. You allowed to read it out live? It's not about your foreskin, is it?
It's not about foreskin. It's about a pen. I got him a pen for his birthday. Pretty lame present, I know. But
adult is the word.
Well, no, but so he's quite into like pens. Dad likes no, he's not really into pens. He likes little things that you can like fiddle with and take apart. And
that's funny because I'm fiddling with a pen as we speak.
He gave me a pen as a present. It's like an old pen, like a vintage pen. It's an old Parker that's like been done up, and it's really beautiful. And I quite like writing with fountain pens now. Weirdly, even though when I was at school I would just lose them constantly.
Yeah.
But I quite like it because you can put whatever kind of ink you want in there. You can have and they're quite pleasant to write with. And I get quite sore hands if I hold my pen too tightly.
Which you do with biros. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
maybe I'll send you a pen, mate.
Well, maybe just lend me a pen, and I'll give you an honest review.
All right, or maybe I'll send one in the post. But yeah, I sent my dad a pen as a birthday present, and I think he's pleased with it, so that's good.
Send me a pen. I'll send you an HB pencil. It's a fair exchange.
Yeah.
When was your dad's birthday?
It is the 3rd of January.
See, my mum's coming up in about, I think, 12 days. And my family have sort of, like a lot of my brothers are talking about banding together to get something. But I always think if you get one thing that's worth a lot of money, I don't know. I like getting them. I like getting people my own little thing, Sorry, I'm feeling a bit gassy again. That's why I sound drunk.
No, that's okay. Yeah, maybe I'll get your mum a present then. What shall I get her?
Get her toilet paper.
Right.
Everyone loves toilet paper during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Not in COVID. Don't dunk the toilet paper in COVID. She's very scared. Maybe you shouldn't get her something actually because she is terrified of COVID.
Oh, really?
And right. Well, I'm not terrified. Like sensibly cautious, I suppose, is the better way of putting it. But maybe I don't know.
I'll send her a big bottle of alcohol gel.
Just send her a sneeze in an envelope.
Oh no! I'll send her like one sanitary wipe. That can't be that way. It can't itself be unsanitary.
And write COVID on it.
No, I don't want to scare your mum.
Well, no, she's easily scared. The amount of times I've seen her quail in fear is unbelievable.
Quail in fear. It sounded like the description of the Sand People as well. It's like, Sean frightens easily, but she'll be bad. And in greater numbers.
I think my mum pretty well. She's not fearful. She's pretty she's pretty robust, actually.
It's a strong woman.
She with strong convictions, absolutely.
Yeah. Big up, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and thank you for, never causing me any serious traumas that have meant that I have to go through levels of therapy and I can just go in and speak my mind. Is that a good thing to thank her for? Is that
I think so, yeah.
Can that be my birthday present, do you think?
Trauma-free childhood. Cheers, Mom.
I've spent some of my life thinking about some of the stuff my parents had done and being like, oh, it's so unfair. Oh, God, you should have done that better. But the grand scheme of things, when you read about a lot of other people's lives, I'm like, bloody hell, I'm so blessed. They are really good parents. And that's not a showy-offy thing. That's just me recognizing my, I don't know.
Recognized game, baby.
I don't want to call it privilege, but I guess
it is privilege. I mean, that's it's something that everyone should have, but they don't have,
Well, most people don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
When we bring in our fascist regime, we need to introduce some sort of law. People can't have kids until you had to apply to have a uterus installed or testicles. You had to You had to apply to have your testicles back at
If
the age
you
of
had
18.
to apply to have your testicles back, like
Yeah.
if men just weren't like so fighty and aggressive all the time because we all didn't have testicles and you could only have them on occasion,
Rent them.
like nothing would get done. Well, maybe not. Maybe it would, but I think a lot of stupid, like crazy ambitious things are done by men who are like sort of essentially just drugged up on testosterone. But then also there'd be a lot less war and a lot less like machismo, and so probably we wouldn't need to like have all these kind of crazy gamblers and I don't know. Anyway, yeah, maybe we should do
Well,
that.
it's difficult to say because I mean, are you suggesting that if we lived in a matriarchal society instead of a patriarchal one, that nothing would get done?
No, but what I mean is like I think a lot of decisions are made by men who are like it's
Swinging their dicks around.
yeah, kind of, but it's sort of like I think yeah, the sort of testosterone pushes decision making in a certain way, and quite often it's in favor of like risk taking.
Absolutely.
But like
Yeah.
you know, and then you think, well, if we didn't take risks, maybe we'd get nowhere. But like we probably still would get somewhere, but also we probably wouldn't constantly be doing sort of one step forward, two steps back because we keep like you know shitting the bed.
Plus, we wouldn't have like advanced technology in like areas like military and weapons. We'd have it maybe somewhere else in terms of like I don't know, like healthcare or some sort of other like useful social device, as opposed to just like getting better at bombing the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of good technology does come out of desire to bomb the shit out of each other, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it does, but it's a byproduct in a way. It's like it's a secondary purpose. I mean, the internet is obviously like a pretty good example of something that was initially a military operation, an invention that has become domestic. But it would have just been nice if it had been, to share like scientific knowledge or something in the first place. Not like I don't know, help coordinate attacks on innocent people in other countries who are already having too much trouble. Anyway, look, let's not get too political. This is something we've got to avoid. In fact, it's been an hour, so maybe
I should go. Yeah, I got to pick Ruth up.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for listening. Phil and Ollie checking out. See you next time.
Lagging.
Phil's going to go and pick up his bird. I'm going to make some burgers.
Birds and burgers. That could be the title of the next. That could be the next podcast.
Podcast number 3, Birds and Burgers. Check it out, bitches.